No one despised him more than Robert Ryan. On November 11, 1909, Robert Bushnell Ryan was born in Chicago, Illinois. His family was well established and had a strong Irish-American heritage. He showed an early interest in athletics, literature, and conversation. He excelled in both academics and athletics. He attended Dartmouth College to study English after completing primary school in Chicago. He made a name for himself there as a skilled football player and boxer. His time at Dartmouth shaped a lot of who he is now, his acting career as well, as his subsequent government and social life benefited from his extreme mental and physical discipline. During the Great Depression, Ryan struggled to find a place after graduating from high school in 1932. Before choosing to pursue his passion of becoming an actor, he worked at a variety of odd occupations, including as a WPA employee and a ship, stoker. His first foray into the performing arts was at the Max Reinhardt Workshop in Hollywood, which equipped him with the abilities he needed to continue developing. Ryan had signed with RKO Pictures by the early 1940s, when the studio recognized his intensity and his ability to portray complex, frequently disturbed men. Despite playing small roles in his first films, Ryan immediately established himself as a very talented actor. His big break came in the role of a vicious anti-Semite in Crossfire, 1947. In the late 1940s and early 1950s, Ryan rose to prominence as one of Hollywood's most admired performers. His portrayal of characters with intense psychological conflict, typically individuals whose inner demons mirrored the conflicts in American society during and after World War II, earned him a nomination for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Playing strong, ethically dubious characters was his specialty. Among other roles, he specialized in portraying irate troops, aggressive criminals, and dishonest leaders. However, he instilled in them a sense of realism that prevented them from becoming cartoonish. Watch The Setup, 1949, where he played an elderly boxer who is frantically trying to maintain his honor. On Dangerous Ground, 1951, where he played a tough cop whose rage is gradually calmed by love. And Bad Day at Black Rock, 1955, where he played a frightening racist, if you want to recall some of his best performances. These scenes solidified his status as a maestro of the noir film era. His passion and conviction were enough to lift even the worst writing. Robert Ryan was proud to return to the theater whenever he could, because he was as committed to the stage as he was to film. One of his most notable Broadway roles was in Mr. President. His commanding presence and rich, resonant voice were later fully appreciated in person in plays such as All and Long Day's Journey into Night. Because he believed that acting was both an art form and a responsibility to inspire others, he put a lot of effort into his work at the theater. Robert Ryan transitioned into more adult roles with ease in the final years of his career. He frequently portrayed remorseful males, military officials, or wise but worn-out people in command. Through complex characters, he continued to explore themes of brutality, morality, and redemption in films such as Lawmen, 1971, The Professionals, 1966, The Dirty Dozen, 1967, and The Wild Bunch, 1969. He continued to act on stage and in films despite his deteriorating health. On March 11, 1939, Robert Ryan wed Jessica Cadwallader. His personal life and his perspective on the world were influenced by their relationship, which lasted until she passed away in 1972. Jessica was not only his wife, but also a companion in politics, intellectual pursuits, and problems that were significant to them both. She came from a family of intelligent and socially conscious people. Ryan's career was just beginning to take off when they were married. As he transitioned from theater work to a full-fledged film career, Jessica supported him emotionally and encouraged him. They cared strongly about social issues while also making their house look like it belonged in Hollywood. In this manner, their kids could be raised in a setting that valued morals and creativity. Following that, they produced 3 kids, each of whom had a successful and distinct path in life. Their first child was named Timothy. In 1946, immediately following the war, while Ryan's playing career was at its height, he was born. 2 years later, in 1948, they welcomed Cheney, their second child. Cheney Ryan would go on to become well known in public service and education, rather than entertainment. His role as co-chair of the Oxford Consortium for Human Rights, and his work as a research fellow at Oxford University, demonstrated how his parents instilled in him the values of empathy and social engagement. In addition, he retired from the University of Oregon as an emeritus professor of philosophy and law. He influenced generations of students there by discussing topics like justice, war, and peace, all of which were strikingly comparable to the moral dilemmas his father frequently discussed on screen. 1951 saw the birth of Lisa, their youngest and final child. Despite leading a more subdued life than her brother Cheney, she too inherited the Ryan family name. In addition to their artistic abilities, the Ryan family is renowned for their contributions to society and academia. The Ryans' housing decision was intriguing in and of itself, and it would go on to play a significant role in cultural history. They spent some time in the Dakota. It is among the most well-known and significant structures in New York City. The Dakota, located at 72nd Street and Central Park West in Manhattan, was well known for its stunning architecture and the group of notable individuals who called it home, including writers, intellectuals, politicians, and members of the music, film, and cultural industries. After renting out their flat to Yoko Ono and John Lennon, Robert and Jessica eventually sold it to them. The Dakota was forever associated with tragedy, since Lennon was shot and assassinated outside its courtyard gate in December 1980. This ancient house was once occupied by the Ryan family, which gives them an indirect connection to one of the most startling incidents in contemporary history. This creates an odd, eerie sound from their personal past. In addition to being parents, Robert and Jessica Ryan had a strong belief in the development of children and contemporary education. A major project started in their area of Los Angeles. In the fall of 1951, the opening of the Oakwood School. Jessica and Robert, together with a few other parents who shared their beliefs, hoped to establish a school that would embody their progressive, child-centered educational values and prioritize uniqueness, creativity, and critical thinking above rigid compliance. Although the Ryans' garden served as the simple starting point for the Oakwood School, its objectives were far from modest. This school was different from others because it was founded on the principles of equality, collaboration, and valuing the individual potential of every kid. In 1954, 3 years after its modest beginnings, the school had expanded to the point that it required a more secure location. To construct a good school, the Ryans collaborated with Sidney Harmon, Elizabeth Shepard, Wendy and Ross Cabin, and Charles and Emily Hosk, among other committed founding families. The elementary school was constructed on property they purchased, on Moorpark Street in the San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles. The construction of this new campus was more than just an investment in their own children's education. It conveyed a powerful message about how parents may influence schools and the value of innovative educational concepts in forming morally upright individuals. These days, Oakwood is among the top private schools in Los Angeles. Its modest beginnings in the Ryans' garden serve as a constant reminder of Robert and Jessica's belief in the transformative potential of community and education. In addition to being one of Hollywood's most beloved stars, Robert Ryan had strong political convictions. In the professional realm, Ryan often kept his personal views to himself, but there was one individual, it was John Wayne, who was unable to tolerate it. Simply because they were rivals at work or had different personalities, Ryan didn't like Wayne. It went much beyond that. It was shaped by their divergent worldviews, playing styles, and the atmosphere of Cold War Hollywood. There were a lot of men in Hollywood whose politics I didn't agree with, Ryan reportedly added. However, Wayne embodied everything that I found to be dangerous, arrogant, and impolite. Wayne was more than simply another right voice to Ryan. More than anyone else, he truly detested him. He looked awful because of his blustery loyalty and the arrogant assurance that Ryan disliked. Ryan enjoyed calm power, introspection, and subtlety. However, Ryan believed that Wayne's strident nationalism and macho posturing were destructive and pointless. With that walk of his, Wayne believed he was America itself, Ryan remarked. This made Ryan quite angry. Preaching about freedom while shouting down anyone who disagreed with him, he stated. To me, that was hardly freedom. It was oppression, disguised as a flag. Ryan had been in the Marine Corps, so he understood what battle was like. Having witnessed the deaths of young men, he understood what it meant to be patriotic. He believed that Wayne's political rhetoric off-screen and his heroes on-screen were insults to those who had actually been in peril. Wayne's actions during the House Un-American Activities Committee period infuriated Ryan. Wayne vocally advocated for the extermination of communists from Hollywood. Ryan, who favored progressive and left-leaning issues, found this repulsive. He previously stated, Wayne called people traitors just because they had different ideas than him. Someone wasn't bold. They were being cruel to me. I was unable to pardon them. In real life and in his plays, Ryan detested cruel people. He frequently portrayed villains on television and in motion pictures, but unlike Wayne, he understood the ethical consequences of being harsh and aggressive. While he had to deal with complex individuals and harsh truths, Ryan was incensed to see Wayne being hailed as a national hero. Ryan had little regard for Wayne as a worker, despite the fact that he was an actor. As he and his buddies laughed, Ryan said he played the same man in every movie, John Wayne playing John Wayne. Ryan put a lot of effort into playing his roles, worked on stage, and took theater seriously. For him, however, Wayne was the antithesis of skill. He wasn't a performer, yet he was liked by others. Rather than challenging himself artistically, he depended on his image. Nevertheless, Ryan took care to keep his distaste for him quiet during his lifetime. With him, it was never about character. Image was the issue, he stated, and Hollywood rewarded that more than honest work. His professionalism and his desire to avoid seeming petty or embroiled in a dispute in the media made him a role model for others. However, those who knew him well reported that whenever Wayne's name was mentioned, Ryan couldn't resist saying anything hurtful. He would mutter something beneath his breath and shake his head. He would occasionally go on a tirade about how Wayne annoyed him. Perhaps Ryan's statement, "I played racists, killers, and men without conscience," best captures his feelings. His conviction that he was correct and that anyone who disagreed with him was not American upset me more than any of his roles. I felt ill after that. Robert Ryan's distaste for John Wayne was ultimately motivated by principle rather than jealousy. The topic was the kind of America he wanted to see, one that emphasized intellectual independence, moral complexity, and quiet respect. He viewed Wayne as a phony embodiment of the loud, reckless, and dangerously uncomplicated American identity. As a result, of all the people Ryan encountered in Hollywood, Wayne was the one he truly detested the most. For over 30 years, Robert Ryan and his spouse, Jessica Cadwallader, were wed. They shared numerous life events, had a strong commitment to one another, and respected one another. The demands and uncertainties of Ryan's acting career, the challenges of raising 3 children in public, and the ups and downs of family life were all things they had to deal with during their years together. They remained close despite both of them going through difficult times at home and at business. A major factor in keeping Ryan steady and grounded was Jessica, who was renowned for being intelligent, caring, and always there for him. Ryan had to travel frequently and perform physically and psychologically taxing tasks as part of his employment. Their connection was a true friendship in which both parties supported each other's aspirations and development, not merely because it was convenient or the standard. When Jessica passed away from cancer in 1972, her life was sadly cut short. As he coped with his grief over losing the woman who had been his companion and closest confidant for more than 30 years, Ryan was emotionally and personally devastated. After only a year, Robert Ryan was also told he had lung cancer, which would finally kill him. He was 63 when he passed away in New York City in 1973. He had a significant influence on Hollywood and had a highly successful life and career. His diverse range of performances in films, including westerns, war dramas, film noir, and socially conscious films that frequently examined moral complexity and human frailties, earned him much respect before his death. Ryan's passing not only. The film industry lost a gifted actor, but he also left behind a legacy of diligence, integrity, and creativity that inspired colleagues and viewers alike. Even though Ryan was aware that he was dying, he displayed a remarkable level of gratitude and humility as he reflected on his life. Shortly before his death, someone remarked, "I've been lucky as hell with my career and my family." A declaration demonstrating his appreciation for individual liberty and his awareness of the advantages he had experienced. "I cherish connections more than work awards." This reply reveals something about Ryan's character. Despite his success, he never lost sight of the value of relationships with others, family, and love. It demonstrates how he managed to strike a balance between his professional objectives and his personal fulfillment, something that not everyone can do. It also demonstrates how content he was with the people and things that held special meaning for him.